Welcome to the Easthampton Ordinance Subcommittee of June 25th, 5:16 p.m. We're missing Councilor Zarrett. We don't have any minutes to approve, and we do have some exciting, fun things on our agenda. So, I think one of the, let's just start with this, because I have a couple ideas.
What is this?
With the quadricycle, I'm sorry.
Mind.
You can't read my mind?
No.
Oh,
All right, so
Omar, can you read my mind?
we'll start with this.
Okay, so thank you. That's where I wanted to start.
Okay.
Can you do me a, I left my copy, my printed copy of that on my,
Of what?
of the lawyer's opinion.
Yes.
Can I just take a quick look at it?
Take a gander.
Yeah, I wanted to ask your opinion, actually. So I read this one line and I wanted to I thought it was interesting. So this is from our city attorney, Mark Tanner, from Bacon Wilson. And the two questions that were asked was whether the business has a right to operate in the city under applicable state and local law, and then whether if we develop and pass an ordinance regulating, would it be grandfathered? Mm-hmm. And so, where's the short answer? Oh, the short answer is one, the bikely is likely the business is likely lawful under comprehensive reading of the current city ordinances. So, and then so that is interesting. Mm-hmm. And the way that I read that was that because the bike was broadly defined, bicycle shall mean any wheeled vehicle propelled by pedals primarily by human power and operated by one or more persons. This definition seems to include electric assisted bicycles as well, and includes potentially this. Was that the reading that you kind of got, or did you take something different?
No, that was essentially
okay.
what I took away from that
okay.
opinion. That the way we have crafted our ordinance, we've left bicycle, I always thought bi meant two, but apparently now it means an unlimited number. That we've left it such that anything that is propelled by pedals,
yeah. And has
we are
wheels.
defining as a bike,
right.
For good or for bad.
Which, and it's kind of...
But it's in there.
It is in there.
And if we want to change it, that's a whole other topic.
That's true.
And then the secondary thing is, we don't want powered vehicles on there with the exception of, and I think it was like
e-bikes,
ice mover or snow person thing.
It was emergency
blah, blah, blah,
vehicles,
and
mobility aids,
bikes.
and electric assist bikes. Or e-bikes.
E-bikes.
It didn't say
What?
electric assist, it just said e-bikes.
I don't even think it says that. It says electric assisted bicycles is what it says in the ordinance. Electric assisted bicycles.
Jeez. Thank you.
So, ergo, the question on the table is this defined as an electric assisted bicycle? If the answer to that is yes, it falls into the
right.
ordinance. If the answer to that is no, then it falls out of the ordinance and it is not
right.
Able to be used. So to me, well, go ahead. Where
Yeah.
we're going.
Well, I
Doesn't matter what I think.
Well, I think the second part of that was that if we pass any regulations, that those regulations would be applicable to the vehicle. It would not be grandfathered.
Everything would be brand new.
Everything would be brand new and applicable.
I agree with that.
Yep.
And that's what you want to talk about tonight, is a brand new ordinance applicable to this vehicle.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is, I mean, there's two routes that we can go, and we might go both of them. But I've been thinking about this, and I would love to get some resolution to this, because, quite frankly, I've grown tired of this. So I think the two solutions could be, one is taking the template that Councilor Zarrett put forward, for a commercial quadricycle ordinance, and looking at that, seeing how we can craft it to be a little bit less onerous, I think. I know that when we first looked at it, it was felt like it was a little bit a lot. And I know that like the fees were pretty hefty, so you know, but I think that could be potentially a solution to this ordinance. Could be a solution to people's problems around this quadricycle. Because what it would do is it would set up a permitting process that would only allow for one permit, and it would be set up similar to the dock, where the precedent has been set for using community recreation space for a commercial venture by renting paddle boats and kayaks. We could even directly model the fee structure after that, if we wanted to. But you know, I think that what that process is, and the reason why this part is important, is because that is one spot, right? Just like the bike path is one spot. Bear with me.
Yeah.
So if you want to be at that one spot, you have to submit a plan, a business plan, and a safety plan, and all the required documents. And that RFP is the mayor chooses one person who submits all the required documents. So what this would essentially do is it would create up an RFP process.
So this would be basically the NIC ordinance.
No, it would be whoever. Yes, but
I mean,
no.
That's what it would be. But yes.
Unless there was someone who was a little bit more creative and wanted to, you know, meet the requirements more effectively.
Okay, I'll let you continue.
So that's one piece, and then within that ordinance, you address all of the pieces that people are concerned about. Okay. So, number one concern I've heard is size. It's number one. So, is that, I think the question that needs to be asked is the essential question, is that a deal breaker for this potential? You know, if it was smaller, maybe people would have less issue of it being on the trail, and maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. But I bet we would. But is its extended size a deal breaker for it to being able to use the bike path? If the answer is no, we can mitigate that through regulation, then we go down this path. If the answer is it's a deal breaker, it's too big, it has no place on the bike path, then we do a width restriction and that's that. We say no vehicles larger than 6.5 feet on the bike path. Done. Right?
Or smaller.
Or small.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of like the two-path approach that I see. Either we think we can mitigate some of these issues and try to give it a go, or we say there should be no vehicles on the bike path larger than 6.5 feet. So thoughts?
I like the idea of putting something in front of the council. I like the idea of putting parameters around that something. But I will tell you that one of the parameters that I would insist on is width, because to me it is a deal breaker.
Okay.
And but if to everyone else it's not, okay. I feel I have a problem to doing an ordinance for one business, first of all. The pond is a different story, because that is the pond exists for multiple things to be on it, floating around. It's not like that vendor is putting jet skis or something that we clearly don't want on the pond rolling around, although maybe our ordinance isn't that black tight.
No, there's no motorized vehicles.
Yeah. So that's, I run into a problem when we start thinking about this as a onesie. I also start running into a problem if we think about it as more than that, because then you've got two.
No,
back and forth, and
yeah,
that's
that's
never
not
going to happen. But while I love the idea, and if I was not sitting in this chair, I'd be like, cool, I totally am gonna do that. I think we need to think bigger than that and think about all of the folks that are impacted, both in the residences and condos along that route, the people who are clearly concerned about their own ability to navigate through it because they have certain disabilities. I think that cannot be made. I don't know how you mitigate that. And then the general feeling that people just want to have a peaceful event on the bike path. All of those things are really important, I think. And I'm really struggling with how this helps us move forward in any sort of way. Because I believe if we did this, that could limit future options on the bike path for different things that are equally as creative but less intrusive. Now they would almost have no shot because this would be the one thing that gets to use the bike path, and they get to go to the breweries and they get to go and do yoga. Nobody else gets to be creative and use something on the bike path. It just seems really very niche-y.
Okay. And I agree, like, creating an ordinance for one thing doesn't make sense, but I also think that it might make sense for us to look at an ordinance around this no matter what we decide.
Oh, I
Because
agree.
someone comes back with one that's
Small.
narrower and has 10 of them. You know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
like-
certainly one on the bike path at a time, ever,
yeah.
would be one of the,
Right.
you know, the
And-
scheduling would have to be limited.
But yeah, and I think that's probably where a lot of people kind of like, that are kind of on the fence on this are kind of like, it's one, and if you keep it at one, the amount of impact it's going to have on people is going to be pretty minimal, you know. But like, but let me go back to what you said, because I think that's important, because at least to say these things out loud, to talk about them, because like, yeah, how do we manage the fact that it is 7.1 feet wide, right, and that it protrudes about a foot into the other trail when it's fully on the trail? I think that's an important thing, and I thought about that a lot. And you know, basically what I came up with was a 3-tiered system.
Okay.
And so, and all would be, it would be on the driver to implement the system. But if they didn't, and there were complaints, you know, I think that, as me and you were talking about, having a trial period, a provisional period,
Yeah.
you know, where we reviewed all the complaints and reviewed all the issues and determined if it really was something that was a problem, or if it was really something that people were imagined would be a problem.
Right.
So there's that. So first one is the driver must stop and pull over when traffic is approaching from both sides. So if they have someone coming from the front and someone coming from the back, they must pull off the trail and stop. So that,
Can they? In all spots on the track?
pretty much every spot except where the
Post is.
where the post is, and there's one bridge that
Okay, yeah.
so that, I mean, 98% of the places they could pull over and stop. A bike driver must communicate verbally if they are going to pass another trail user. So say someone's like,
I would say that they are forbidden from passing on the trail.
well, I mean,
Now you're getting over, and then you're going to go around. And
I mean, it could be. Well, I just envisioned someone who was, you know, on crutches or something, or someone who's like going even slower than 2 miles an hour,
yeah.
and there's nobody ahead of them, and they can see
Safely.
they're going to be able to pass safely, and they just have to communicate, you know, we are going to pass you. We are a large vehicle, you know. So there'd have to be like communication. So that's, and if someone is approaching from the rear and needs to pass, the bike driver will slow and pull over. So they don't have to stop if someone's going to pass them from the rear, but they have to slow down and get as far over as they can. So that was the 3 basically things that I thought, if we're looking to mitigate its width and the impact to other trail users, is that impossible? And I thought to myself, no, it's not impossible. It can be done. whether people, like that idea, it can be done.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that it could be pulled over on the side of the trail, but does that mean that? I mean, that's just one thought, and does it mitigate that for other people in their thoughts about this? I mean, I feel like honestly, I'm probably the only one that would vote to allow this thing to continue. So, that, like, in that case, like, I'm not looking to push this boulder up the hill, like, it's too much effort for me. And if I'm by myself, I shouldn't be thinking about these things at 4 a.m. when I can't sleep.
True.
Right?
True, and I'm sorry that you are.
Yeah, right? Well, that's
no,
what happens.
I think this is completely appropriate. This is our job.
Right.
So I got no problem that you're trying to figure out a way that this could be a business in town. I think that's our job.
It is our job to figure that out.
You're all good.
Okay, thanks.
You're all good.
All right. That makes me feel just a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that's what we should be doing.
The boulder just got a little lighter.
That's what we should be doing. No, I agree. It's what we got to do.
Right.
Then the question is, I think, then it really is all this stuff.
All this stuff.
And there's something in here about, so you're saying there's have a path for its existing side mitigating it.
Yes.
And then
have a path.
There may be a path, maybe present both
yes.
to the council that says,
this
is everything.
Yeah. We, I mean, that's kind of where
So
I was
one is
at.
like, we're giving it a fair shot with these.
Right.
Maybe 8 out of 9 still don't like it.
Right.
And then this one is, we really do believe the deal breaker is the width.
Yeah.
And potentially the sound, but there's not much anything we can do about that.
Right. Even though I did put that in here. Music must be kept low when passing, being passed, or in residential areas.
Yeah, I don't know how you would ever police that.
Complaints.
A lot of people are just going to be like, oh, and then not really do anything. So, I'm fine with that if you want to go down that path, if you want to present 2 versions.
Yeah, I mean,
one that is, here's a possibility, here's a deal breaker.
Right.
And then whichever
one wants to go forward.
Are we out of this committee? Would you suggest we move both forward?
We can move both of them forward. We don't have to recommend anything. We can move them both forward without
we're
recommendation.
We're a hung jury. We just don't know what to recommend.
Yeah, I mean that's not unheard of at all. And then what it does is it just, allows people to make the decision.
All 9 of us.
Yeah, it puts it on us, and
all we would be doing anyway is going, yeah, we think it's a good idea, council, and they could all still go. No, we don't agree.
Right. The only other things that I kind of added in, as it related to like mitigation of impact to the community was, so the music being kept low. So just having that be an expectation of their permit. Mm-hmm. Patrons may not drink or smoke on the bike. Mm-hmm. Each group must have a designated driver or rideshare arranged if on a brewery tour. So like the yoga people don't have to have a designated driver. Then also establishing times and frequency of operation, which is not addressed in this. Yep. So you would say no more than 2 or 3 trips a day.
Yeah.
Between the hours of 9 and 9 on Thursday through Sunday. So so 4 days a week it would not be allowed to be on the trail, and then it would not be allowed to be on the trail before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. Okay. And then proof of insurance with the city as named. I believe insurance was part of this. As we looked.
Yeah, there's some indemnity down here, $2 million.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that honestly.
That came out of Tennessee.
Yeah. I think that one is actually an important one. It's making sure that the city's named as an additional insured. Mm-hmm. And that basically that those were the things that I felt like timing, how it's going to interact with other users on the trail, and frequency. Those are going to be the big ones that people are upset about.
How do we have anything in here about these streets it is allowed to be on? So
Like
certainly
Fort Hill
Route
Road.
5,
Right.
what do we do about that?
That's a state highway.
So we don't have to do
I
anything.
don't think we have to do anything.
So what about this eventuality, or during cultural chaos, he went down Payson, went that way?
Mm-hmm.
That's almost a deal breaker for me, some of these streets.
Yes, like it should stay out of the
No, not
downtown
going out, yeah.
streets. Like I honestly like the guy from the Rail Trail Committee's suggestion.
Change the routes up a little
He's
bit.
like, take it down Fort Hill, and then just access the bike path from the end of Fort Hill. Like that would actually,
Start at Fort Hill,
yeah.
and then,
I mean, it would take, or don't let it come past the mills. You know, like look at restricting the route or modifying the route a little bit, which would again like decrease the impact. Like for the people that sent the video of it going down the bike path, who live right on the bike path, if they went down Fort Hill, then they wouldn't be going by that.
Fort Hill neighbors would have
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's Joe. He's like, hey, whatever. They can make it through the potholes. I mean, so anyway, you know, there's that's
but
potential.
that should be part of this.
Oh, yeah.
That route, because it can't be if we say yes to the bike path, they can't just be on the bike path all
wherever.
over
Yeah.
the place.
It would have to be
It would have to be a very specified
Route 5
route.
and the mills, Millside Park.
Yeah, and that's pretty much
That's
it.
pretty much it.
Anything else is a ticket.
And if you think about it, you know, it's funny because, you know, that section of trail is the least traveled by a lot. So, if there was going to be a place, like if you said, hey, if you had to put this thing on the trail somewhere, where'd you put it? I mean, I'd put it on the part that was least traveled. You know? But we need to look at this and figure out how we can make this something we can bring to the council, right? So I started looking at the definition, and I changed it a little bit. There was a lot of typos. He must have done his iPad or something. So I just started cleaning it up a little bit. But I like the commercial quadricycle definition. I changed the first sentence. But it, you know, basically has 4 wheels, has at least six seats for passengers, fully operational pedals attached to drivetrain for propulsion, entirely by human power or via electric and that's another typo. Via an electric assist motor. Is designed to be occupied by a driver for the purpose of steering and braking, and is a commercial vehicle. You know what would be interesting though? This would not cover a pedicab.
Right.
So I don't know if anybody's getting creative about putting pedicabs on our bike path, but I guess that's the next thing we're gonna have to think about. And then the commercial quadricycle owner, I think, did you have this one? You have this one, right?
The person or persons who is the owner of the
Yeah, means. I took out all the means.
It's funny because I was thinking about that, the pedicabs.
If you have pedicab, yeah. Yeah. I took out all the means, so I just said commercial quadricycle owner, a person or persons who is the owner of the commercial biker business.
Okay.
So
And then commercial quadricycle operator.
Yep.
The business owner or employee operator. Okay. Quadricycle permit, a written permit issued by the city authorized by.
Yep.
Okay.
And so they may not operate without a permit. They may not be operated without having a driver's license or under 21. May only operate on designated city streets, pathways, or other public ways. So that right there,
Would be a
see attached.
See attached.
Right? Right. Must obey the rules of the Manhan Bike Trail. Must operate within the regulations of the Manhan Bike Trail.
And what might those be?
That's a good question. Like, they don't have any.
Are there
They don't
rules and
have their
regulations
own.
of the Manhan Rail Trail?
They don't have their own rules and regulations, as far as I can tell. I think so. I
that
think we should
is
cross that out.
Yeah, I mean, if there is a document that says.
Well, and plus we're gonna say what in this we should say, like, if there's someone coming, you need to pull over. Like, so we're gonna be establishing rules. So I think we can probably take those out. May not park on public property, except in areas specifically designated for the So this one I would modify. I would just say, you know, because why can't they park in a parking spot or or just somewhere out of the way?
I mean, if we get to this part,
Yeah.
parking in a parking space is like the least of my. I would rather they do that than park on the side of the bike trail.
Yeah.
Like go up that little hill.
Yeah, and
park.
park. Yeah. So like let's just because we're not gonna have any designated. Wouldn't that be funny if we tried to make that the loophole? It was like, sorry, no, you can't do this because we don't have
No
a designated
designated.
parking spaces for you.
Question.
Yes.
Have you
funny.
or anyone talked to the breweries?
Yeah.
And what's
They-
just business to them? So they're recycling.
They are not. They don't have any problems with it.
Okay. Nor would they.
Because it brings people to them. Even though I know that
Everybody's making money in this venture, so everyone's. happy.
I did not talk to Fort Hill. I will say that. And I know that. I don't think Fort Hill lets the bus go there. So, but I have so there's that. May only allow boarding or exiting of passengers at designated spots.
attached? What
Yeah.
would be the designated spots?
I mean, where you get on and where you get
Well,
off.
dirt,
Like,
but
at
I
the
mean,
brewery, at the brewery.
Designated would have to be
Like a,
specific. Like if he's the other thing is if he's taking it to Mill 180,
yeah,
how's he getting there?
on the bike path, and then they just go into the parking lot, and there's the
Okay.
entrance on the back.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So okay.
So I would say may only allow boarding or exiting of passengers while the vehicle is stopped or something like that, because like what if
No, because you're not going to be able to jump off just because I've stopped it for whatever reason. You, Mr. Passenger, can't just jump off and go pee in the woods or something. It's not going to happen.
okay.
You can't get on and off just because I'm stopped. There has to be on and off at designated spots from a safety perspective. And I would go so far as to say, if this ever passed,
Yeah.
a little sign like a bus stop sign,
Huh.
it would be a quadricycle sign that
Yeah.
says, quadricycle stops here.
Okay. So.
See attached, we don't know what
Okay.
it would be,
See
but
attached.
we'll figure that out.
Yeah. It'd be on the map.
Must not operate on sidewalks or other paths for pedestrian use unless otherwise specified.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So that's just a catch-all, I can't even imagine what the unless otherwise specified would be.
Like if there was a. I'm trying to think of.
Like there might be a reason they'd get on the sidewalk? I mean, I know bikes, we have that.
We allow bikes on sidewalks.
Right.
Um.
So it does say, or other paths for pedestrian use unless otherwise specified. So you can't do that
Right.
unless otherwise
And I
specified.
don't. Well, I think so if we looked at a new path between the new school and Williston, like that would be a walking
That would not
path.
be a C attached for the.
Yeah, that would not be part of their route. So, yeah.
I mean, that's just a weird, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if
But I think may not operate on
sidewalks.
sidewalks. I mean, you could even say, may not, or other paths for pedestrian use, period.
Right.
We don't need the unless otherwise specified.
Right. Okay. Rides must be prearranged with signed agreements, waivers, etc. available on the vehicle, commercial quadricycle under the influence. Wait a minute.
No, it's a period after that. Available on the vehicle, period.
Oh.
And then it starts, no commercial quadricycle operator.
Okay. Vehicle period. I didn't have that one. Okay. No commercial quadricycle operator may operate or allow others to operate any commercial quadricycle under the influence of alcohol. Because liquor. What if they drink 5 beers?
Right. Alcohol.
Okay. Or any other intoxicating substance. That makes sense. Makes sense. Commercial quadricycle may not operate with a number of passengers that exceeds the number of usable seats on the vehicle.
Does that include like the little bench they have for people who can't ride a bike?
Right. Yeah.
So
that would be an
considered a
available seat. Yeah. All operators of the commercial quadricycle must be CPR certified.
That one was weird to
That
me.
is weird.
That seems kind of onerous.
It is a little bit. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I don't
mean,
know
they
what-
should be, but I don't know if that's like should prevent them from getting a permit if that's the route we're going.
And what would be that point? Like, I'm not sure what the point is there. I could see, you know, well, I don't know what the point would be. Why CPR certified?
If someone had a heart attack, you could
Right,
resuscitate them while you're waiting for the emergency
Then are we
vehicle.
gonna say they should also have one of those?
Defibrillator?
I mean, that just seems like an odd thing.
It is. I mean, I
would
can
be
see
more
it like.
concerned about people falling and hitting their head.
Right. If you were like maybe if you were having big numbers of people go through this, like that in a city environment, but I think
I think we
that's
can
probably.
strike it.
Not that I'm against people being certified in CPR.
I mean, they should be.
They should be. I am a CPR instructor, so. And so this is where I added in policies for bikes and riders.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Where we talk about you can't have more people than there are seats.
Yeah.
I think we need, this one has it, and I think it's a good idea to say all riders must be seated during the operation of the vehicle.
So I think.
Except for the hostess person.
Okay.
Host or hostess.
Can we add that under policies and regulations for bike and riders, or?
Where are you? Oh, you're
I
right.
added that.
Yeah, I don't have
This
that
is-
one. Okay, put it on.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that as 7. Must remain seated. Okay. Must remain seated. Okay. So. Oh, do you want me to go through the other ones that I had? Okay. So, on the bike path, bike driver must stop and pull over when traffic is approaching from both sides.
Okay.
Bike driver must communicate verbally if going to pass another trail user.
And by verbally, do we want him to get on a microphone or just yell it out?
Probably like making sure that he
On
has
your
the
left.
person's attention and that it's clear. If someone is approaching from the rear and needs to pass, bike driver will slow and pull over. Music must be kept low when passing, being passed, or in residential areas. Patrons may not drink or smoke on the bike.
I think we should delineate on aforementioned map the areas where music should
Okay.
be held
So
low.
I'll say see map,
attached.
see attached.
Because you can't just say, or in a residential area. He
Right.
could go, I didn't know this was a residential.
Sure. Patrons may not drink or smoke while on the bike. Patrons must remain seated. Each group must have a designated driver or rideshare arranged if on a brewery tour.
How do we figure that out? Do they have to sign something? Is that part of the waiver?
It would be part of
Yes, I have a ride share,
Yeah.
and this is their name.
Yeah, something. I think that would be.
Nick would have to do it.
Nick,
as
I think
part of this.
that's already one of the policies that they
Okay.
have.
All right.
So and then, do you have any other things that you think would be like good for either the riders or the driver to help mitigate the impact on other users? So because the width was like the number 1 complaint.
Mhm.
I think the noise is kind of the number 2 complaint.
Mhm.
And then from there, they kind of get a little.
No, I think those are the two that matter.
Yeah.
I think that those are the ones that are going to tip it one way or the other.
Right. Okay.
Figuratively, not literally.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it can tip.
No, it'd be really hard. So and then times of operation.
Mhm.
And so I was thinking,
9
was
Thursday.
it 9 to 9?
Thursday through Sunday.
9. Yep.
Prohibited every other day of the week. Either we have to say it as allowed only on these days with every other day prohibited, or we just leave it with allowed.
Yeah. Allowed Thursday through Sunday, 9 to 9. No more than.
Is 9 on a Thursday? Like school, like I'm thinking school time. Is the bike path during the day, during school, a bigger deal than it is during the summer on a Thursday?
Yeah, I mean.
Like, maybe it's between 4 and 9 on Thursday,
Okay.
and 9 still seems early on a Friday. I would say 4 and 9 on Thursday and Friday, and
4
then 9 to 9 on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so 4 to 9.
On Thursday
4
and
to
Friday.
9, Thursday, Friday. And then 9 to 9, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And how many trips per day? 2?
2.
No more than 2 trips per day.
No more than 2 trips. So he can have a morning and an evening.
Yep.
Or an afternoon meeting.
I mean,
Now, the way you get around that is to have exceedingly long trips. Like perchance, you drop people off at whatever and you pick up a new group and you keep going around and round and round for hours, and that looks like one trip.
1 trip, right. Well.
I mean, forget it. Or we can say from wherever he enters, and again, see map.
Yeah.
Let's just call it Route 5 for now.
Yep.
That's the entrance point. He can only enter there twice, and the exit would be back there. Is that
Yeah.
because he does a loop? So back there twice, and he could only on one trip,
Have 1 group of people.
one group of people.
Well, see, maybe we just quantify trip. Trip is 1 group of
One-
people that have
all
signed
the
up.
same people from entry to exit. Because otherwise, I could foresee that.
Okay.
I'll just take you guys to Fort Hill and pick up a new group,
Yeah.
and then take them to here and pick up a new group.
Yeah, and then take those funds
Yeah.
back. Okay, and then proof of insurance
Yep.
with the city named as insured. Vehicle regulations. No commercial quadricycle may be allowed to operate without inspection by the City of Easthampton Police Department or other appropriate inspecting authority. Each vehicle must be equipped with the following. So it doesn't have seatbelts, and I think that that's probably okay. I know that you like seatbelts, but
I don't
it
like
does
them.
have seat backs.
I understand that.
I don't like them.
I don't like the whole concept, but
Right.
those seat backs
Yeah.
are decorative as
Yeah,
far
I
as
mean,
I'm
yeah, I mean, you
concerned.
can
They're
go,
not going to do anything.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is people drinking on those little seats with no seat back
Yeah.
and getting a little hee-haw.
Yeah.
And going right on their noggin on the bike path. And that's a huge liability. I got a real problem with that. actually.
Okay.
Mock me if you will.
I will.
But
and
that is a bit, although I accept the fact that if he outfitted it with seatbelts, no one would.
no one would use them probably.
I understand.
And when you are pedaling, one of the things I noticed when I passed the bachelorette party,
Yes. Some weren't pedaling.
no, they were all leaning forward. It was like they were on spin bikes,
Yeah.
you know. So they're like leaning forward and pedaling. So they were all in. So I was like, oh yeah, I guess it's not. I just remember thinking, I guess they're not going to fall out backwards because everybody's leaning in, you know. But you know, if you want to keep seatbelts, you know, and I think brakes is more important.
Well, why does it have to? They don't have to be mutually
They don't have to be
exclusive.
mutually exclusive. I feel like brakes would be A, but that's
Oh,
fine.
you can move it to A. I don't care what the order is. I think it should be in there.
Okay, fine.
Sorry,
All right,
you can
seatbelt.
have
All
it.
right, brake lights, headlights, tail lights. I think it has all
It
those.
should be outfitted with them. I'm not saying that everybody
Okay.
has to wear them.
Be equipped with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Tail
'Cause there's
lights.
going to be some old lady on there like me who gets on there and they're going to want to see them.
Okay.
Just saying.
A horn, a rear view mirror. Oh, this is
A rear sea view mirror.
rear sea view.
Yeah.
So that's rear view mirror. Spare tire and equipment for changing thereof.
Is that a thing?
I don't know, but I feel like we don't have to say that probably.
Oh, yeah. On this one, it has a map of the city showing proposed routes, stands, or pickup points.
Oh, there you go.
That's the wording we use.
Cool.
What did you say? What are we talking about?
Spare tire
Spare tire.
and equipment for changing.
There's nothing in here. Thereof. Do we have anything in there right now? All wheels wheels must be firmly attached.
That's
Kind of a given. Okay. All right. See, it's not on this one.
okay.
So, spare tire and what do we call it in a car? Spare tire and a jack.
Yeah. I think
Spare tire and
related equipment,
relay.
right?
Yeah. Be free of any damage, loose parts, etc.
Okay.
I don't know. Like damages in the if it's got a dent
Right.
and if it's got like one of their little things.
Wires up
yeah,
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think this
kind of
one-
weird.
I mean, if it's something that's safety related,
It'll fall into something
yeah.
else probably. The safety inspection wouldn't pass the safety
right.
inspection.
Yeah, because here's vehicles must undergo a safety inspection at the beginning of each day of use,
Yeah.
with all working items documented. All working items. Wheels. Check.
Seatbelts.
Check.
Check.
Okay.
Lights, bells, horn.
Any conditions found to prevent safe use of the vehicle must be documented. The vehicle must be removed from use and the repairs documented prior to return to service. I feel like this seems to me like it would be something that would be in like a fleet,
I know.
in a city where you had like a fleet of these things.
I think we should have some kind of a logbook where he's checking it at least weekly.
Mm-hmm.
That he's doing some sort of a
Right.
20-point inspection.
Yep.
Which he may already be doing.
You might.
Yeah, but I think
So-
that's okay to ask for that.
So, but do we want to say that every day that it's used, it has to go
No,
through?
vehicles must undergo a safety inspection weekly,
Yeah.
period.
Weekly. Week.
With document, with items documented in the logbook. So,
Yep. All right. Copy of commercial quadricycle permit must be visible and presented on the outer aspect of the vehicle.
Mhm.
That's fine. Employees who operate the vehicle must be trained in its use and operation. All employees trained in the operation thereof must be documented in an operator's book. Policies and procedures for operation must be available to the City of Easthampton Police Department for review.
I think just some sort of documentation that shows who the operators are, who the
Mhm.
employees are, and that they have been trained
Yeah.
by whatever regulations this company has for training. I don't really want to get into the training business.
No.
You know?
And
Its use and operation and all employees trained in the operation thereof must be documented in an operator's book.
and
Good.
that,
I don't
that's
think
that.
we need the procedures for
No.
operation. I don't want.
Nope. And he already gave them to us anyway. A commercial quadricycle owner must maintain at all times an insurance policy with a minimum of $2 million of coverage for personal injury and property damage for anyone injured or for damage to property resulting from the use of commercial quadricycle. The policy shall also protect the City of Easthampton, its officers, employees, and agents, and shall be the only policy called upon for any losses or damages, and shall not be call upon the city or any policy of the city to contribute for a loss caused by the commercial quadricycle.
That sounds like
That sounds
some legal,
legalese
yeah.
that was probably
Yes.
taken out of another
What's
ordinance.
his
so
name?
that's-
What's his name? I apologize, Mr. Tanner. Mr. Tanner would have to
review that.
all that.
In the case of an accident, full accident report must be filled out immediately, and the owner of the commercial quadricycle must be notified immediately. An accident report must be submitted to the Easthampton Police Department within 72 hours. The commercial quadricycle may not operate after an accident until a full inspection is again performed and passed.
Because I don't like words like soon, immediately, and recently, I think we should put a full accident report must be filled out at the time of the accident. And the owner of the commercial quadricycle must be notified, period.
Yep.
An accident report must be submitted to the Easthampton Police Department within 72 hours of an accident. The commercial quadricycle may not operate after, okay.
And I feel
Until a
like
full
it-
inspection is again performed and passed by the police and
Yep.
the go decision is the police.
Yeah. And I feel like it would be more than just the police who would want to have this, because the permitting authority, I feel like Barbara is given like the city clerk is issuing the permit.
Okay.
I think
So basically, all that would happen would be they have an accident, they'd report it, the police would inspect and say
Yeah.
you're in fine operating business. He would take that piece of paper up to Barbara and say, please say I'm good to go, and she
Yep.
would say,
stamped, you're good.
okay.
So I would say,
Police
and,
what do we call it, licensing authorities?
yeah. Right.
Anyone.
Application for operating permit. Anyone desiring to operate a commercial quadricycle in the city of Easthampton must submit a written application to the city clerk. The application must be complete to be considered and must contain the following information. Semicolon, maybe? Colon? Applicant's full name, residence, mailing address, email, phone number, driver's license, name of any business entity applying as owner or operator, proof of insurance, list of authorized operator, and Cory check.
Isn't that for teachers?
That's for kids. Like, is this?
And there's not gonna be kids.
I don't think a Cory check is actually necessary here. If it was like someone taking unsupervised groups of kids, then it would be
Yeah.
appropriate.
But you have to be an adult, to be honest.
And also, I don't think we're going to require a certificate of training, because I don't think we are going to have the ability to issue a certificate of training.
No, because all we're saying is just prove to us that your operators have had training by looking in the book.
So documentation of business logos, descriptions of any and all commercial quadricycles, including physical description, and operating specifications of each vehicle. We don't want that because we only want one vehicle.
Of the vehicle.
The vehicle. So descriptions of any and all commercial of the description of the commercial quadricycle, not quadricycles. Physical description, operating specs of the vehicle. Okay. Statement of intent and business plan for operation of a commercial quadricycle, including fee schedule.
What's the fee schedule?
I changed it.
His fee schedule, like what he charges people?
Oh. We
Statement of intent and business plan for operation of, including fee schedules. What, so I don't know how that's beneficial to us.
Yeah, and I don't think we necessarily need to know their fee schedule. I mean, like, we set it for taxis. That's different.
That's very different.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say, do we need their business? Can we just strike no?
The whole statement of intent.
Do we need that?
We know what the intent is.
Yeah. I don't think we actually.
We're kind of defining the intent,
Right.
like. we're eliminating it.
And then descriptions of all routes, boarding and exit points.
We're defining.
We're
that.
defining that, so.
He just has to agree to it.
Yeah, agreed to those routes.
When you redo this, and I trust that you will, to make it pretty, can you make the bullets work? Like, you don't put a 1 after a 1.
Yes.
You know, put an A and a 1.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm real. My OCD is kicking in. Upon receipt of the completed renewal, the city clerk shall request investigation by the city. What? Wait.
Wait,
Upon receipt of a completed,
application.
Or a renewal application.
Investigation by other city and state authorities to determine whether a permit should be issued on the following basis. Applicant complies with all the requirements for a permit. There are no prior instances of possession of a permit that has since been revoked, canceled, or removed in any way. The owner has any known prior violations of operating a commercial quadricycle or has listed operators with prior. Alright, so I think that sounds, basically it's just like, before you issue the permit, make sure that they're not delinquent.
But if we're the only ones issuing them a permit,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't we already know that we've denied them a permit? Wouldn't we
Yeah.
already know that they've been revoked?
Yes, we would definitely know that because we.
It's not like the state's gonna have that information.
Nope.
The DPW, any of that stuff.
And I guarantee that if they did something that got under the skin of the police department, that they would.
It'd be done.
Yeah.
Do we wanna have do we have anything today, other than liquor licenses, that the city council has to approve once it makes it past all the stages?
No.
So we don't wanna do that.
I mean,
So what I'm saying is, this is all on Bart. The way
As long-
we're kind of framing it,
yeah, I mean, but the good news is that it's super clear.
it's very specific.
It's like, it's
it's
not,
all those
she doesn't have to
things-
make any weird judgment calls.
Okay.
You know, it's like, do they have, you know, insurance? Are they meeting the,
So are we striking number 2 in its entirety then?
I think number 2 could be striked in its entirety, because we are the only licensing authority. Upon receipt of complete application and completion of an investigation, so we'll
We're
just
not
strike
doing
that. So upon the receipt of a complete application, the city clerk shall either issue a permit or a denial. If a permit is denied, written reasons for denial shall be provided to the applicant, period. Okay, operating permit fees. So this, I changed this a little bit because these would have been by far the highest fees ever in Easthampton. You know, do you know ordinance, so can we take a little break here?
Sure.
Okay. Ordinance trivia. So,
Whoever buzzes in first.
right. Ordinance written in 1936 that allows people to sell beverages in the city of Easthampton. How much does that permit cost?
Any beverage? Like
Not liquor.
Oh,
Any,
1936.
so, and sarsaparilla was written.
Really?
No, yeah.
Sarsaparilla.
And there's like some other ones I don't recognize. How much is that for a year permit?
Well, it's going to be some ridiculously low number. So I'm going to go $2.
Water?
$1. Isn't that crazy? It's still in the books.
So we could do that
Oh, totally.
if I wanted to sell some soda out on the corner.
Yeah, you just need to get a dollar
Barb,
permit.
I would like a license, Barb. She'd be like, ah!
All right, back to the work at hand.
Here's my
All
dollar.
right, so the city shall charge a non-refundable fee for the costs of review, inspection, administration, regulation, and the issuance of a
Permit.
permit for a commercial quadricycle in the amount of, I thought $500 would be more reasonable. So, and that would, but I do like this structure. So, this fee includes $200 to the city of Easthampton and $300 to the Manhattan Rail Trail for
Yes.
maintenance.
Should we add something in here where he has to also do some maintenance?
Oh, like, the community service component. That's actually kind of cool. I like that. Maybe that could be part of application, statement of intent of community service project that will be completed. No, okay.
No. I mean, I like the concept.
I do like the
of-
concept.
Of having some sort of, I mean, if they're using it, there should be, because Barbara today does a lot of volunteer cleaning up and
Sure.
doing whatever, and you should be part of that
Yeah.
effort. So
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, we can buy with that the $300 to buy a lot of pizzas
Yeah.
for the cleanup, I guess. So the validity of operating permits. Operating permits are valid for 1 year from the date of issuance. A vehicle with a displayed permit that has been defaced, rendered illegible, or otherwise not readily identified as a permit may not operate.
We're only
until-
giving one,
We're only giving one.
so
So
that seems,
permits are not transferable. A permit may not be altered, forgery, or counterfeited. At the end of the permit year, a renewal application must be submitted.
I
with
think
the
we're
city.
down to 2 sentences. Operating
Yep.
permits for 1 year.
Yep.
A permit may not, at the end of 1 year, renewal may be submitted,
Yep.
period. Because seriously, if we're
If
only giving one.
we know if it's counterfeit.
We know who's doing it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So anything else we want to add? Look at that. We just cruised
Boom.
right through that.
So there's that.
Yeah.
What's the second version?
Okay, let's do this.
Did you create a template for a second
I
version?
got it. I got it right here. It's ready?
It's one sentence. No quadricycle
No.
with a width of
no vehicle.
of any kind except police vehicles,
no vehicle
snow removal
may
equipment.
exceed 6.5.
No, that's too much.
6 feet.
That's too wide. The thing is only 9 feet wide. So I would say 4.5.
Okay, let me just check though. Because you know,
Omar, back me up here.
you know what I realized?
What's that?
How wide is the bike path? 9 point something
9
feet.
point something.
It depends on where you are. Some places it's a little wider. Some places it's a little
Right.
narrow. Some 10 feet.
No, you go with the least one, and
I
that's
think
how
the
wide
least
it
one
can
is
be.
8.8.
So 4 feet.
Yeah.
4, I'll go 4.5.
All right, hold on. I gotta
That's all
find
I'm
this.
doing. I'm not going no 6 point whatever,
Um,
'cause he's like 7 feet now. He's actually 6 point, I think he's 6 point something. He's in the specs.
have you ever been on one of these? Because they're actually really fun. If you go to, so just so you know, if you ever go to New Orleans, there's this beautiful, beautiful public park, and they have bike trails all through the park, and they rent these.
Now that's lovely. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
They have those at Disney.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Oh,
They're smaller,
Mm-hmm. I just want.
thinner.
I want to see the width. Because if someone wants to get one of these,
That would fit.
it's 48 inches wide.
It's 4 feet.
So 4.5 feet. What if I want to make some sort of cool vehicle?
We're not gonna let ya.
All right. No vehicle may exceed 4.5
Feet.
feet of width.
From the widest part to the widest part.
As measured
Yeah.
from widest part to widest part.
It's probably not even an accurate sentence, but.
We'll have to figure that out
Yeah.
later. Except for emergency vehicles.
Yep. Snow removal vehicles. Right? Or
or DPW.
Or-
Or
what do you call it?
emergency
Maintenance
vehicles,
vehicles.
maintenance vehicles.
Maintenance, yeah.
because there's no scooters that we know of that are 4.5 feet wide
No.
today. It removes all vestiges of electric assist. So an electric
So it
assist
doesn't
bike
matter.
can have its way down the
Yeah,
bike.
yeah.
It's all about the
This was the solution, because they're getting mired in like, is it a class 1, 2, or 3 electric? That's
Who cares?
who's gonna enforce that?
Yeah.
And B, like, what's the problem? It's too wide.
Yeah.
Let's go to that. So no vehicle may exceed 4.5 feet of width as measured from widest part to widest part, except for emergency.
Why don't we just change that as measured at the widest
Oh, as measured at the widest part.
part? Because there's no wide
At
part to wide part.
The
Oh,
widest
how long
part.
can it be? Do we have a problem with its length? We should limit it, whatever it is today. What is it, 16 feet? No.
I mean, the thing is, like, if you think about, well, you know what we'd have to do? We really should look at like a tandem, like a tandem bike, pulling a trailer.
Does that happen?
Oh, all the time.
On the bike path?
Yeah.
Okay, it does. Oh, with like baby children in the back or dogs or something?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And then
let's not
people-
go with length.
Yeah, because then also people have like those little bikes that attach on the back of someone's bike,
Yeah, the tag
the
along.
tag along, and so if you had a tandem with a
I think
tag
if you're gonna
along,
make limits, you should put limits in all too.
For what?
I don't know, because people are really creative. And
Huh.
if you don't guys put a limit, someone's gonna make some creative vehicle to use a bike path, and then it's gonna be like
But
super
if
long.
Bike
but
train.
if we don't do it
Bike
right,
train.
Super long.
but if we
and-
don't do it right, someone who is legitimately
Oh,
using it
I'm not
today,
saying, yes.
we just
but
don't know what those lengths are.
I agree with you on that.
let me see.
But if we don't create the burdens, then we're gonna be like,
We're gonna
okay.
have a thing that snakes around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, people are really creative.
Maybe you can only have 4 wheels. Well, quad, 4.
Well, there's that, yeah. Length of tandem.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's straight to reference in the case.
Well, like the longest one we'd ever encounter would be a tandem bike that's pulling like a tag along or a trailer.
And how
So let's find out. For tandem conventional layout, wheelbase 70 inches. So its overall length would be about 96, so 2.4 meters. So that's like around 7.5 feet or so. One way to think of a standard building. And so then you'd have to, then you'd add like probably 3 or 4 feet, so it'd be 10 feet long.
How long is his thing today? Do we know?
His thing, I think, is 15 feet.
So if you limit it to 10, then he's
Well,
out. No, but
well, he's out.
We're limiting it to 4.5 feet.
I hear what you're saying.
So he's out either way.
Okay.
Yeah. No vehicle may exceed 4.5 feet of width, or as measured at the widest part. And we can put 10 feet of length.
Yeah, 10 feet is too short.
Too short? So like 12 feet?
If you have a double.
Yeah,
five,
tandem is like 8 feet.
And then you
Add a trailer.
Add a trailer with 2 kids or three. Maybe 20 feet.
20 might be too much. Then you could have a train.
Let's go 15.
15 feet? Okay. 15 feet. Okay, except for emergency vehicles and maintenance vehicles, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So there's that.
And so what we are suggesting, you'll pretty these up.
Yeah.
So we're not even doing a motion or anything. You're just going to present these as our, well, actually, do we need to make a motion? Motion to move these
To the full
to
council?
the full council, so,
Yeah.
as you amend them?
As amended. Yeah,
that
I think,
what you
yeah, I
wanna do?
think that makes
All right.
sense.
I'll make a motion to move both the ordinance version, which specifies all of the appropriate specs, as well as the ordinance that limits by width of the quadricycle to the full council.
Okay, second?
All in
And
favor?
all those in favor?
Aye.
And so what I'll do is I'll get these to Counselor Zara as soon as I get them cleaned up, so he has a chance to weigh in and make whatever, that way, it's not like we're voting on them at the full council.
Right.
Whichever one we would want to set a public hearing for,
Oh, we still have to do that?
we still have to do that, because it's ordinance.
I know, but we haven't done that yet? I guess we haven't.
No, we haven't.
So what we're effectively saying is that this vote won't happen until August 5th?
Yeah,
And so the police, well, actually, the way they have it now, he's enforcing the existing ordinance until such time as there's a new ordinance for him to enforce.
Right.
So although Nick has said July 1, that's a date Nick has put out there. It's not our date.
it's not our date.
Okay. All right.
So,
I can live with that.
Okay. And that way, we'll be able to move on in committee to other things.
Please.
Yes.
We have many things.
Many things.
To do.
Yes. And so I think that would be nice. This would be nice to have some resolution.
And you're not going to be there on the 10th.
I'm not going to be there.
So you want me to
Yeah, I'll send it to
present?
you. Sure.
And what are we doing there? Just basically explaining the two versions
Yeah.
and setting a public meeting?
Yep.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Simple as that.
Do you have any thoughts, Counselor Gomez? Because you don't have any thoughts, or because you don't want to share your thoughts? Do you believe this is a viable presentation to go to the full council?
It is. I think having both proposal ordinance, it will help with it's going to bring a solution to this
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
At the full council
Are we going to
level.
allow it, or are we going to prohibit it?
Yeah.
And I think that this is the best thing you guys can do.
Yeah.
Because we have to do it as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll keep spinning if we don't
Mhm.
do something today.
That's why I wanted to make sure we got this.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel bad, but all of the meetings that we've had, as we've had people attending meetings and trying to sort, we haven't had the chance to do this.
No.
You know,
Because
we've had so much other stuff going on, and we've been, debating whether it's a bike or whether it's a unicorn. Like,
We did go down some wormholes.
Yeah,
that
so-
now we've learned.
Doesn't look like unicorn,
I mean, this was interesting and completely frustrating.
Yeah, it was interesting and frustrating, yes. And I hope to see resolutions soon.
Is this our only topic for today?
If that's all right.
Because you have no intestinal fortitude to go any further?
I do.
Because I don't either.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay.
So,
Motion to adjourn?
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, counselors. And we'll see you next time.